Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
It is a steamy Tuesday night in downtown Cincinnati. We welcome you to Great American Ballpark. Reds kicking off a homestand tonight, and it begins with interleague play. The Detroit Tigers at 1 game under 500, taking on the Reds. Hi again, everybody. Alongside the Cowboys, Jeff Brantley and Brian Giesenslaw. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. A 6-gamer to get it started on this homestand. 2 against the Tigers. We'll play a night game tonight, a day game tomorrow, and then the Cubbies, who are rolling right now since the 3rd week of May, will come in starting Thursday night for a 4-game series. All right, Cowboy, let's talk about Sal Romano. We saw him in Kansas City. He was lights out his last start, and he even told Jim Day that, he was a little concerned about staying in that rotation.
Well, I think when you're concerned about staying in the rotation, you have to figure out a way to do what's successful. What's successful for Sal Romano is fastball location. He's a single ball pitcher. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He's a guy that pitches to contact. The only way you can pitch to contact is throw the ball over the plate. When he throws the ball over the plate, I mean, look at his fastball. That fastball is down. It's not as though he's trying to throw at 1,000 miles an hour. And when you're down, it makes your breaking ball that much better. But you stay down in the strike zone. Even when you get yourself in trouble, you get those ground balls and you let your friends help you a little bit.
It was quite a performance, 8 innings of 1-run baseball. Meanwhile, for the Tigers, they have a first-year manager, of course, managed nearly 15 years in Minnesota, and Ron Gardenhire. They're playing a lot more small ball, Cowboy, than they have in the past.
Yeah, they are, and I think when you look at this ball club, Ron Gardenhire, major upbeat guy. I think he brings a lot of emotion, and sometimes for players, you live on yesterday rather than today, and you need a manager in some ball clubs that can lift you up each and every day.
All right, how about their pitcher tonight? The numbers look very good for left-hander Matthew Boyd.
New pitching coach and Chris Bosio, he has emphasized throwing strikes not just with the fastball, but with the breaking ball and changeup, especially early in the count. Almost pitching backwards. When you can command your breaking ball, it makes your fastball looks like it's shot out of a cannon. This kid can throw his breaking ball and changeup for a strike, and that's why hitters are only hitting about 200 off of it.
All right, when we come back, we'll check in along the Reds dugout with Brian Giesenslaw. The Reds are off to a good start, a rare good start in interleague play. They battled Minnesota and Kansas City and looking good, trying to keep that rolling tonight.
to you by Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good, it's Skyline time.
I'm Local 12 News meteorologist John Gum. Tigers in town tonight for a little interleague play, and it's going to be hot out at the ballpark. Temperatures starting out in the upper 80s. The only way we cool down is if a thunderstorm passes overhead. There will be a few roaming the area tonight. I think they get the game in, but I can't rule out a delay. By the final out, we're dropping into the upper 70s. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Welcome back inside Great American Ballpark. 70-plus games into the season so far, and the 2018 Reds have done an about-face when it comes to interleague play. A team that has historically struggled against American League competition is off to a great start. It's our Elk and Elk storyline as we look at the numbers from the past few seasons compared to this year. The Reds have won 4 of 5 so far against the Twins and the Royals, and the last 2 seasons, they totaled 5 wins out of 20 each of those years. They've done it with nearly 7 runs a game and a very well-pitched series so far in those 2 series. 2.6 ERA as a team. The Tigers, on the other hand, against the Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers, just 1-5 against National League competition so far this season. But Detroit has won 5 straight games as they start this quick 2-game series here tonight. Stick around when we come back to the ballpark. First pitch, and Jose Peraza on top tonight for the Redlegs. We're back after this.
And he'll be facing the Detroit Tigers. Ron Gardenhire in his first season as a Tigers manager. They're 1 game under 500. He has won over 1,100 games and closing in on being one of the top 50 winningest managers in the history of Major League Baseball. Let's take a look at his lineup here tonight. Not exactly household names. Martin, followed by Candelario, the third baseman. Nicholas Castellanos, your big star in right. Goodwin, the second baseman. John Hicks at first. And Grayson Griner, their catcher. A ladder third of Victor Reyes in left field. The shortstop, Jose Iglesias. And on the mound, left-hander Matthew Boyd. Cowboy talked about Romano keeping that ball down, 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 down.
Well, when you're a sinker ball pitcher, and Romano is not your typical lot of movement, not sinking down in the strike zone. His is more of along the lines of a power sinker. Get the ball down. It's got that late life right at the end. Just a little bit of drop. To the naked eye, sometimes you don't think, well, that ball's not moving at all. Well, it's moving. But when he's up, it doesn't move at all. It's straight. He stays down and makes his breaking ball and change up way better as far as the visual to the hitter.
It's amazing the Tigers are out of their best player. Of course, he's out for the season, in Miguel Cabrera. They have not lost a game since he got hurt. They've won 5 in a row, and it's been primarily with pitching, a staff ERA of under 2.5 during this current 5-game win streak. Leones Martin, former Texas Ranger, takes up an away ball 1, and we are underway. They were figuring this guy would be a stopgap kind of a player in center field, waiting on some younger players to come up, but has been solid at the plate and in the field, and there's a base hit into center to start the night.
I think that's the kind of swings that you're going to see from the entirety of the Tiger lineup. They are just trying to make contact, shoot the ball up the middle. Not a lot of big swingers. The strikeouts are down. The wins are up. They put pressure on the defense. The only way you put pressure on the defense is you don't strike out. You put the ball in play.
Tigers have had a real nice run at it for quite a while there when they were just trying to outslug everybody. And of course, they had a couple of very, very good starting pitchers, highlighted by Justin Verlander. But now, as they've tried to rebuild this team and remake this team a little bit, they're becoming a much more small ball oriented kind of a club, something they have not seen in Detroit for many, many, many years.
The Tigers have always been a slugger-esque type club. Right now, they are a speed, steal some bases, hit and run, do the small things. They're winning ball game.
We told you they begin the night 1 game under 500 in the American League Central. That's good enough for just a 3-game deficit. They're in second place behind the Indians. We've talked about Cleveland. They'll start and look like they're getting ready to get on a roll. Then they'll make a couple of steps back as a division leader. Just 5 games over 500 are the Tribe. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jeimer Candelario, the third baseman. There you see the standings inside the AL Central. The Tribe, the division leader, the only team over the 500 mark. Of course, the National League Central Division has 4 teams at 500 or better.
And I think when you look at that division standings, the club that stands out to me the most are the Minnesota Twins. They are behind the Detroit Tigers, and that probably doesn't sit well up in Minnesota.
Fastball a little bit high. The last time the Tigers were at 500, they were 4-4 all the way back on April the 8th. Last season, their final trip at the 500 mark was the first week of June. June the 7th, they were 29 up, 29 down, and they completely collapsed. Went 35-69 the rest of the way, and they wound up losing 98 games a year ago. 3-2 now on Candelario. Romano was ahead in this at bat at no balls and 2 strikes.
First inning, as we've talked about time and time again with Sal Romano, trying to get that adrenaline out of him. Sometimes it tends to be an issue.
I would imagine we see Martin on the run here, Jeff. Yep. That'll be handled by the one-time Tiger, a Eugenio Suarez. And that's out number 1. Martin back to the bag. We look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Hamilton flanked by Duvall and Winker tonight out in right field, not Schebler. Regular infield of Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, and Votto, and Tucker Barnhart hanging the signs for Sal Romano. Nicholas Castellanos having a big year. .310 batter, 9 home runs, 41 batted in, a whopping 22 doubles for the former third baseman turned outfielder, his check swing roller. The play will go to first. On to second is Martin. 2 out.
It's one of those spots, and as the ball is rolling to Peraza, there has to be great communication between Jeanette and Peraza. It looked originally, might have had a play, a little quick toss to second base. You're always after trying to get the leadoff runner or the lead runner on the play.
Nico Goodrum, the second baseman. 240 batters, 6 home runs, and even 20 runs batted in. And a fastball belt high in there, a strike.
I think you make a mental error as a position player when you automatically, before the ball is ever hit, you think, okay, this guy's fast. If it hits me, I'm going to throw it to first. Just because the ball was hit softly, you're standing 3 feet from second base. Jeanette's right on top of the bag.
Of course, Gardenhire, seemingly forever, was the manager of the Minnesota Twins. 2002 all the way through 2014. He's the winningest manager in Twins franchise history. Took that franchise to 6 postseason appearances, including an American League Championship Series in '02 when they lost to the Angels. And this was a young man he became very familiar with in the Twins minor league system. Former high draft pick, second round draft pick Goodrum, but for whatever reason just spent a lot of time in the minor leagues and was unable to get where they thought he would go. So Gardenhire brought him in during the offseason just to see if he could compete for a job, and he's found himself getting pretty good playing time. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Goodrum. Runner at second with 2 away here in the first. Got him swinging to retire the side. And Barnhart will throw down there to put a period at the end of the first inning. Reds come to bat. Peraza, Barnhart, and Votto in a scoreless top of the first inning.
A little hesitant being behind the plate. I'm not used to being back there.
No, you're not. But you handled it perfectly. You like Johnny Bench back there.
I don't know about that. But I was glad to do it. What a great organization.
Oh, yeah.
I'm amazed that just my involvement with it this year, I'm amazed that there are not more teams that are involved in that kid glove issue.
Great stuff. You were down there as the honorary chairman this year for the Kid Glove Games, and you got the plaque presentation. Very, very nice. And there you are. I mean, look at you.
Did you see how I framed that? I was trying to get the guy straight.
Is there an echo in here? I said you look like JB. The other JB. All right, so here come the Reds against left-hander Matthew Boyd. It'll be Peraza, Barnhart, and Votto. We'll give you the rest of the lineup here in a minute. Peraza, 271 batter, 2 home runs, and 19 batted in. And here's the rest of the lineup after that trio. It'll be Suarez, Jeanette, Duvall in the middle, followed by Winker in right. Romano bats 8th, and Billy Hamilton in center field bats 9th. Straightaway center. That's still in the bright sunshine out there for Martin, but heck, he played in Texas forever. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Take a look at Detroit defensively, presented by Ford. Reyes and Castellanos will flank Martin. Candelario, Iglesias so slick with the glove, the shortstop. Goodrum and Hicks on the right side, a battery of Boyd and Griner. Tucker Barnhart has a 4-game hitting streak. He has raised that batting average over the last month from 224 to where it stands now at 256. Seen a lot of time in this number 2 spot in the batting order. There's that breaking ball you alluded to before we got started from Matthew Boyd.
I think Barnhart has really handled the second spot well. Is that a spot that the Reds want him to hit in the future or long term? I don't think that's the case. But right now, it's the best case scenario.
Got hit with that pitch. Well, you look inside some of the numbers, Cowboy, for Matthew Boyd, and they are very impressive.
I think a lot of Boyd's success has come from being able to throw more than just one pitch for a strike. He has confidence to throw a 3-2 breaking ball with the bases loaded, and the same with the changeup.
Joey Votto checks his swing. It's low and away, ball 1.
Ultimately, the key to pitching is keeping the hitter off balance. If you go out to the mound and you think you're just going to overpower the hitter, more times than not, you are lending help to the home run category. And Lord knows we've seen a lot of those. Not just with the Reds, throughout baseball. Velocity has taken over. Hitters can hit velocity.
Votto, a 302 batter, 6 home runs, 32 runs batted in. It's interesting, the last homestand, Votto hit over 450 but did not knock in a single run. On the 5-game road trip where the Reds went 3-2, Votto was just a 200 batter, but he had 3 doubles, a triple, and drove in 5. Almost a 180 for Joey Votto. Breaking ball in there on a 2-0 count, snaps in there a strike.
I think if you're ever going to have an opportunity to watch Votto guess or to swing out of his shoes, it's coming on the first pitch. You throw him a first pitch fastball and it's middle in, that's the pitch he's going to drive out of the ballpark. Now, not every time. He's going to miss him. He's human. He didn't like that pitch. You can always tell when you watch Votto, a breaking ball, fastball, anything that's away that maybe skirts the edges or the very outer part of the strike zone. He wants to know, all right, is that the very last edge of the strike zone or is there more to it?
How about that breaking ball? 2-2. Mercy, and Votto knew it. Strike 3. What a pitch.
You throw a breaking ball for a strike that's on the outside corner immediately into the head of Votto. He's thinking, all right, I've got to make sure I stay back and catch that corner. He starts this one a little slower this time. Starts it at the front hip of Votto and breaks it back to the plate.
So now Eugenio Suarez. You know there's a little extra fire in the belly for Suarez here tonight. You know, we were talking to some of the Tigers people before the game. When Detroit brought him up originally, he was a shortstop. And they had to make a decision on which one they were going to keep for the long haul and which one they were going to look to trade. They decided to keep the man who's at shortstop tonight, Jose Iglesias, who's an outstanding defender. But of course, Suarez has turned into an excellent third baseman and a far more dynamic offensive player.
Now, when you say want to do good against your old team with Suarez. There are a lot of players I would say, all right, this is going to be a tough night because you're going to have over adrenaline. You're going to try too hard. Things are not going to work out. Suarez is not that way. He is about as calm and cool as any player I've been around, but has the ability to escalate adrenaline wise when he has to. Great ability, and just to turn it on and turn it off.
Started on a breaking ball and did not go around. He got a chance to face him back in 2015. Did hit a home run against his former team, but he is even a far different player now than he was in 2015. It's not even close. He has become one of the better third basemen in all the Major League Baseball from an all-around standpoint, offense and the defense. A whopping 52 runs batted in this season for Suarez. Fastball, strike three. Boy, that's impressive.
Great location.
One man left, end of one. No score.
On Sunday in Pittsburgh, Francisco Cervelli thinks he's got a gap shot, but Billy Hamilton takes it away. Now, Tom is very into the catch probability of 2%. We haven't seen any that low this season, but Hamilton made that grab with the same glove that he's used for the last 5 years, a glove that he picked up when he first moved from the infield to the outfield in AAA in 2013. He said when the Rawlings guys came around during spring training with all of their gloves, he just took a sample because it felt good. He's had that glove ever since. It does not have his name on it. It's just the old sample glove he picked up. I would say it has worked out extremely well for Billy Hamilton.
I think you might be onto something there, Brian. He has been just incredible. Incredible to watch on defense. That's rare to see a player in this day and age, especially with the defensive capability of Hamilton, and as long as he's been in the big leagues, not to have a glove with his name written on it.
Well, that glove is your moneymaker. You can always have somebody, you take it to the store, or somebody that can stitch, let them put it on there. Don't mess my glove up.
By John Hicks, and that's a second strikeout in a row for Sal Romano.
Down, down, down. When you throw fastball down, breaking ball down, very difficult for the hitter to decipher which pitch he's swinging at. There are a lot of folks today talk about, well, launch angle, they're going to catch that ball downstairs. You throw the ball at the kneecaps more times than not and throw a breaking ball down there, you can have all the launch angle you want. You're going to launch that thing right into the sky or right to the shortstop.
Grayson Griner, the Detroit catcher, playing in just his 11th game. 9 hits and 34 at bats without a home run. Does have 3 doubles and 5 knocked in. Tigers just here for a night game tonight, a 12:35 game tomorrow. Later in the month of July, the Reds will play 2 games at Comerica Park in downtown Detroit, Michigan.
That's a pitch there that starts middle in and just eats up Griner. Very difficult to get some kind of barrel to that type of baseball because Sal Romano's sinker goes down. It doesn't come to the hitter. From the right side, that is. Romano's actually throwing a 4-seam fastball. It just moves like a 2-seam.
Well, he missed there. And that's a 1-out walk here in the 2nd inning. What about the repertoire of one Sal Romano?
Well, I think you look at 70%. He is a fastball pitcher. When he is down, he has success. When he comes up, the ball does not sink. It stays straight. You get hit. Slider, fastball, best pitch. As he moves along in the ball game, that's when you'll start to see the changeup.
Here's Victor Reyes, the Detroit left fielder. He takes low and away, ball 1.
Where Sal gets in trouble more times than not, Tom, trying to throw the ball too hard. And that's a tough spot for pitchers trying to make their way in the big leagues, because they see velocity. We glorify velocity in Major League Baseball no matter what broadcast you're on. I don't care if you throw it 50 miles an hour. If you're getting outs consistently, you are a champ. It's called pitching.
Reyes, his 35th game, a .248 batter with 6 driven in. Rule 5 pick coming over from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Votto for 1. Relay throw, not going to double up Reyes at first base, but they cut down the lead runner for the 2nd out of the inning.
Reyes can boogie a little bit now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that ball was hit quickly. Votto did exactly what he was supposed to do. A perfect throw. The return throw from Suarez was quick. Reyes was already down the line dusting off his pants.
All right, so 2 down for the number 8 hitter, the shortstop, Jose Iglesias. He's having a good offensive year. .261 batter, 27 runs batted in, and has 19 doubles, does Iglesias. This one popped up. Easy for Scooter.
That's a beautiful
back-to-back scoreless innings for Sal Romano. No score after an inning and a half at Great American Ballpark.
online. Make sure your favorite Reds are represented on this year's squad by voting at Reds.com. You can catch all the excitement of the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th at Nationals Park in D.C. The game is live on Fox. And if you're keeping track at home, the most recent balloting, those numbers are in. Freddie Freeman continues to be the top vote getter in the National League. But 3 Reds in the top 5 at their positions. The most interesting race, obviously, at second base, where Scooter Gennett trails Javi Baez and Ozzie Albies. But that is a tight race at that position. Remember, you got 2.5 weeks left to vote to get those guys to D.C.
Yeah, and the leader over at third base, forgive me, Brian, if you said that already. I heard you say Freeman and Albies at first and second. The leader at third is Nolan Arenado. And I think that's probably a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, Gennett has a good shot. He really does. His numbers are better than the guys that are ahead of him. Overall numbers, I should say.
Sinking liner will fall in front of Martin, and Scooter with a base hit, the Reds' first hit tonight. And this will lead off the second inning of a scoreless game. All right, we checked on the repertoire, if you will, of Romano. What about Mr. Boyd?
When you watch Matthew Boyd throw, look at the velocities on this side. Not going to knock your socks off. But what happens is he mixes the pitches up so much. The 89-mile-an-hour fastball, a lot of times following a curveball or a changeup, looks like it's 93 or 94. That's the value of pitching and command.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that will tell you they're convinced if you were to watch Boyd at a tryout camp, the
you
way
would not
everybody's
sign
so
him.
infatuated with velocity, that yeah, he probably doesn't get signed. But yet,
you wouldn't sign Dallas Keuchel either.
75 innings, he's only given up 54 hits, and opponents are batting .202 against him. Ball 1 on Adam Duvall. Ball 2 on Adam Duvall.
We used to call pitching keeping the hitter on the rocking chair, leaning to me, leaning back. Fastball makes him come to me. Off-speed pitch makes him stay back. You keep him on the rocking chair, he's going to get old in a hurry. You know, you wonder, Tom, with the tough first half that Adam Duvall has had, will his season flip-flop and the second half be his bust out? We've seen him have so many great first halves, at least 2 of them. One of them he made the All-Star team. I mean, he's a 30 home run, 100 RBI guy. He's done it. Look on the back of the baseball card. And he's as good as you can get in left field as far as a defensive player.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Boyd comes all the way back from behind 3-1 to strike out Duvall, and that's 3 strikeouts through the first 6 batters for Boyd.
You get behind 3-0, and all of a sudden you start throwing changeups. That's a slider to strike a batter out. There are a lot of pitchers that would say to themselves, God, it's 3-2. I'm not really sure if I can throw this for a strike. You have to know you can do it, be confident in it, and execute.
1-1 on the left-handed batting Jesse Winker, who checks in at 255, 3 home runs and 19 runs batted in.
You know, Tom, you look back and every kid has done this. Sitting in your garage or you're sitting on the field, bottom of the ninth, I'm in the big leagues. I'm 10 years old. Bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, 3-2 pitch. I've got to throw a strike here. Those are the kinds of things that you still have to do when you're throwing your bullpens, when you're warming up. You have to play those mental games so that your mind is prepared to make those pitches in a huge spot. Because if you don't practice it, you'll never do it. And I'm not talking about practicing it physically. I'm talking about practicing it mentally. Sure. This is a mental game up here. Everybody's good up here.
Well, the word you hear all the time is visualization, trying to put yourself in that spot. And that's become sort of a catch-all phrase, if you will, and in Major League Baseball and in recent years, all sports for that matter, all walks of life for that matter.
If you're not trying to get better, you can book it, you're getting worse.
Two and two on Winker. That's 4 strikeouts now through the first 7 batters for Matthew Boyd.
And that's a change up there. It's high, it's out of the strike zone, but the velocity of the pitch is what allows him to get the strikeout. Actually, that's a hanging slider, but it's the velocity of the pitch that gets Winker out in front, and he swings underneath the baseball.
So now it'll be the pitcher Romano batting in the number 8 spot. Sal has 1 hit and 21 at bats. That was a double. Jeanette started the inning with a single, and he's still standing there now with 2 away. Ran a fastball in on his hands to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I think when Sal hit that double, his eyes were closed. Pitchers just don't get to hit a lot, especially when you're coming up and you're a pitcher only, whether it's high school or college, or you got a DH most of the time.
Right.
Well, he tried a couple of breaking balls to get Romano to fish. They were both up. He didn't. Now he's got to come in there.
2-2 the count. Jeanette a short lead over at first. And Boyd thought that was strike 3. A fastball in the outside corner, but a little too far outside. That's a fair ball. And the catcher Griner will throw out Romano to retire the side. 1 hit, 1 left. We're scoreless at the end of 2.
may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, Kroger and the Reds are proud to team up to offer you a great value this season. We call it the Kroger Meal Deal, and it is a great value. I mean, for $9, check concession stands around the ballpark. You get a hot dog, a bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, David sunflower seeds. Make sure to get your Kroger Meal Deal your next trip to Great American Ballpark.
I'll take that 16-ounce Coke.
I knew that already. But you like chips too.
I love chips.
Were you ever a big sunflower seeds guy?
No, it made bumps on my tongue, so I just chewed gum.
Okay. All right. Well, you can get some of those too on this homestand.
Made my jaw sore, but
yeah, I get it.
Lesser of two evils.
That's right.
7 of 9 first pitch strikes. Now for Sal Romano. I think that Kansas City game gave him a bit of confidence, and confidence is huge for young pitchers, especially for a guy that has struggled as much as Sal Romano did there for about a month and a half.
Boyd 0 for 1 is a batter so far this year. Scoreless game as we begin the top half of the third inning. Check swing and a miss, and that will be a strikeout for Romano, his third of the night. And right now, time for a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
It's probably not so great for an American League pitcher to hit in the National League park because they're not used to doing it. But the best part about it is you get to order some cool looking bats.
Absolutely.
You notice where that last pitch was. It was very high, borderline pitch, but Romano has been pounding the strike zone. You get the benefit of the borderline.
So it's now 8 out of 10 first pitch strikes, right?
There you go.
Martin, the lone Detroit hit, led off the game with a rocket back up through the middle into center field. You'll notice when we show the grass in the outfield, you can still see where all the stage, or not so much a stage, that was more out in center field where Billy Hamilton is now, but where they put down to protect the grass and trying to protect the grass for the Luke Bryan concert, Sam Hunt concert they had here over the weekend. This is one great grounds crew here at Great American Ballpark. They'll have that spiffed up in no time. There's a looper into right field. So Martin, a perfect 2 for 2. He's on with 1 out here in the third.
Now, do we think Martin will be off to the races here?
Well, they started him on a 3-2 pitch once the count got there on Candelario. I would suspect we would see him a little bit earlier this time. What do you think?
I think he's going to run. He can steal some bags. He's got great speed. He gets good jumps. Now that the Tigers have been able to get the clock on Sal Romano, they have a better idea about what they're dealing with.
Martin has 6 stolen bases in 9 attempts.
He's showing no indication whatsoever to run. Even his lead is very mediocre.
Runner not going again. It's 2 balls and a strike on Jeimer Candelario. He popped up to Suarez his first time up. Suarez, both feet a step onto the infield grass down at third. A lot of interleague baseball going on around the major leagues tonight. Orioles and the Washington Nationals. That's a big rivalry. Those two cities, Baltimore and D.C.
That could be a massacre for the Orioles because they are scuffling.
Oh, boy, are they ever. 20-50 on the year. Finally ended a 9-game losing streak yesterday with a win. Tell you what, though, having to play in that division year in and year out for Tampa Bay and Baltimore, I know every now and again those teams will have a good year, maybe a couple of good years in a row, but when you're trying to compete with, of course, the Yankees and the Red Sox, and really Toronto's a big spender, not with those guys, but I mean, when you're playing those teams 18, 19 times a year,
you're never going to compete with them from a payroll standpoint. It's just not available. And I probably shouldn't say never, but the chances of being able to compete on a level playing field from a financial standpoint, I just don't see it.
Well, Ron Gardenhire knows all about that predicament,
Yes,
because he
does.
faced it in Minnesota where, look, you get those people that'll sit there and they'll try to give you the stats or the numbers that say, well, not all the teams that spend the most money win. Look, I think it's been proven here recently with Kansas City. They're the perfect example. They had a nice run at it. Minnesota had a nice little run at it. And, you're hitting the lottery with a bunch of guys that you developed and that you brought to the major leagues. And it's a great core group. It's kind of like the Reds did when they had all their players and Frazier and Bruce and Votto and that whole crew. But once those guys start becoming eligible for arbitration and, of course, free agency, that's when all of a sudden things begin to fall apart because you can't keep them around.
Well, it goes back to what you said, day in and day out. That means every single year. Now, a team like Tampa Bay or a team like the Orioles, and granted, the Orioles have money to spend. Let's don't fool ourselves. But a team like the Reds or a team like Milwaukee or a team like Kansas City, you've got a specific window that you have a chance to win. If you don't win then you go back into a rebuild mode because you're going to lose the players that you were just talking about. It's not an every year stock up and here we go again.
Breaking ball on a 3-2 pitch is low and inside, ball 4. So a 1-out single by Martin, a lengthy, very patient at bat by Candelario. That's a second walk given up by Romano in the game here tonight. That was a big problem for Romano before his last couple of starts. He was walking, and bear in mind, right around 3 walks per game, but that was in roughly about 5 innings per game.
I didn't like the pitch call there because Candelario was not getting around on the fastball at all. Every fastball was hit over the third base dugout. You just keep pounding, 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 make him put that pitch in play. Don't try to trick him.
Well, here's Castellanos, and he looks at a first pitch fastball, and there a strike. Romano had only allowed 2 walks over his last 3 games, spanning 18 innings. And as we mentioned, he was averaging 3 walks per game before those last 3 starts. Already 2 here tonight. This guy's having a really good year.
Well, I would think that when Nicholas Castellanos moved into the outfield, it gave him a little bit more relaxation. He's playing on an everyday basis, not getting pulled out for defensive reasoning.
Double play ball the way here. Scooter will turn it over, and you'll take that all day, every day.
Nice.
1 hit, 1 left, middle of the 3rd. No score. Good work by Big Romano. long, but hey, you know, he's got to feel really good about what happened his most recent game of the plate. He had 3 hits. He stole a couple of bases. He scored 3 runs. So, you know, I was telling a story about running into Billy Hamilton on Saturday night after the game, early Saturday evening, and he was really, really down in the dumps. And, you know, so many people are trying to help him, and he appreciates every single piece of advice he's getting.
He's a competitor. He wants to do good and help the club.
In fact, he said, look, I've been talking about my defense a lot. How about we just talk about my offense? He said that after the game, after he had the 3 hits.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. That one sails high and away. 3 balls and a strike. And Billy is drawn a walk.
Well, Mr. Boyd is about to find out what it's like to be struck by lightning, because Hamilton is aboard and things usually get a little haywire when the speedster is at first base.
Well, we talked about it at length the other day, Chris and I did, that, you know, Billy Hamilton is certainly the equivalent of an outlier in regard to low on base percentage guy. If you don't get on base, it's impossible to score runs. Much has been made, of course, about Hamilton. And we went through some of the numbers the other day about how it's stunning, his ability to score runs with a far less on base percentage than, say, a guy like Jesse Winker. Now, look, you know, some people they were sending, and I'm not on Twitter, but Chris Welsh is on Twitter, and they're sending in, oh, Brenneman's endorsing, you know, Billy Hamilton to be the leadoff hitter again. That's not what I said. It had nothing to do with it. And so many of you that were writing in, it was nasty, and it was mean. It was never said one time. I just gave the numbers, and the numbers are what they are. Hamilton's ability to score runs once he gets on base,
they're pretty.
Is
well, the
stunning.
percentage is pretty incredible.
It's incredible.
It's about a 40% time, and that just doesn't happen.
And that ball smacked into left field off the bat of Jose Peraza. So here come the Redlegs.
Here we go.
First and second base with nobody out to begin this 3rd inning.
Well, this is the best case scenario for the Reds to have these guys coming up 2, 3, 4, and 5, especially with Votto, Suarez, and Jeanette with runners aboard. More times than not, that is when the Reds have put runs on the board and really put innings together that have put them on the top of the ball game.
Well, now Tucker Barnhart squares around to try and move the runners along. He has 1 sacrifice so far this year.
Well, going back to the point that you made, Tom, most players, when they get on base, they'll score every once in a while. But with Hamilton, because he can put himself not only in scoring position at second, but still 3rd as well. With that being said, he puts himself in a perfect position to score, so he's almost, not quite, but almost scoring every other time he gets on base.
Well, I mean, it's just mind-boggling when you just look at the numbers. And all people want to talk about numbers all the time. Well, just go look at the numbers.
That is why everyone talks so much about if he could get on base more in a regular basis.
Well, a couple of failed bunt attempts by Barnhart. The Reds have had a woeful time getting down bunts so far this year. There's an exception to the rule. Peraza's been a very good bunter.
And Tucker normally handles the ball very well.
1 ball and 2 strikes. First
Handles
and
the
second.
bat very well.
Yes.
But here we are in a 2-2 count. Barnhart's seen 3 different pitches. 3 out of the 4. Speed-wise.
2-2 the count. With 2 on and nobody out in a scoreless game. Boy, he's not missing by much, is he?
Tried to backdoor that breaking ball. Started it out there just a little too far. Had he got it back another inch or so, he might have gotten the benefit of the call.
All right, let's see if anything's happening here. Most of the time you never see something like this, but every now and again. Got great speed on the bases out there. I mean, you've got the 2 fastest guys on the team on base. That's why I used to love watching Don Zimmer manage. I saw him start the runners with the bases loaded, nobody out on a 3-2 pitch.
Riverboat gambler. He and Roger Craig. Oh my goodness.
3-2 the count on. There they go. And it's ball 4 down and in. So Jim Riggleman does start him on a 3-2 count.
And why not? You know that Hamilton can get a phenomenal break from second. Peraza, unless you make a perfect throw to second base and you're dictating the throw to second rather than getting Billy. I think it's a great move because you stay out of the double play no matter what.
All right, so now they're loaded for Joey Votto. You see 2 of 5 with 7 runs batted in.
Tom, you couldn't draw this scenario up any better for the Reds than what it is right now.
No 2 ways about that.
I mean, this is the perfect storm.
3 best hitters with the bases loaded, nobody out. Votto struck out looking his first time up. Beautiful breaking ball that snaps on the outside corner, a strike.
This is the pitch that he just fed Votto nonstop in his first at bat.
Well, apparently that bird wants to sort of hang around right between the pitcher's mound and home plate.
Well, I would pitch out of the stretch here and wait until he started to fly. Just take flight and then fire it to the plate. Use all things to your advantage.
Two balls and a strike on Votto. That bird's still hanging around, making its way over towards the third base line. Reds have him loaded with nobody out for Joey Votto. 2 balls and a strike. High fly ball. Don't think he got enough, or did he? It is gone. A grand slam for Votto. That is Votto's first home run. You've got to go all the way back to May the 13th in Los Angeles.
With a great hitter at the plate, and he faces you for the second time. You can't just continue to go to the well and think that you're going to overpower that batter. That breaking ball was in the middle of the plate. It was up. You had to know Votto had that in the back of his mind after striking out the first time up, and he waited like a champ.
I think Votto's even surprised that ball got out of here. I mean, that looked like nothing more than a pop fly ball to right field. Power of the bird. Yes, indeed. Well, with the weather being as hot as it is, and this ballpark being a hitter's paradise, that has taken full advantage of your home turf.
Well, for Votto in that situation, you're trying to hit a fly ball into the outfield anyway. You just happen to catch it a couple of feet further than the wall.
Still nobody out in this inning, and the Reds have a 4-0 lead. Third career home run, grand slam for Joey Votto. Suarez struck out looking his first time up. Joey, the last time Votto hit a home run, that's when the Reds were in Los Angeles, all the way back on May the 13th off Pat Venditti. He's the ambidextrous pitcher. So officially 30+ games without a home run for Votto until that grand slam. Fifth strikeout for Boyd. And now 8th all time in Reds history over the last couple of days, leapfrogging the great George Foster. Ted Kluszewski next up, 20 away.
Even with the wall scraper by Votto there, once that monkey is off your back, we've seen Votto go into those little home run binges just like we have with hit binges. They come in bunches.
Breaking ball, fooled Scooter there. He had a single to center field his first time up. Scooter has hits in 26 of his last 33, including a 5-hit game, a 4-hit game, 3 3-hit games. And that batting average knocking on the door at 340s, at 338, make it 340 plus now. We brought up earlier, the last Red to lead the league in hitting was all the way back in '73. Pete Rose hit 338 that year. That bird is still hanging around. You just saw the bird wave again by Jeanette. The bird that was in between home and the pitcher's mound, as there's a base hit into right field, and this bird may turn into the Reds equivalent of the rally monkey from days gone by. I'm wondering if that thing's all right, if maybe they ought to get somebody out there to try and get it off the field. I guess the Tigers have had a rally goose so far, where a goose came in, made its way on the field. This bird, Here's a goose that actually ran into a wall, and it turned out to be okay. The goose is loose. And that bird has gone from between home and first, over to third, and now it's over to first base. Yep. The rally goose is loose in the Motor City.
Isn't it amazing how, I guess, baseball, probably more so than anything else, if something works for that given day, maybe it's just superstition, maybe it's just a rallying cry. I know my Mississippi State boys have a banana, and it has taken a new life. People wear banana costumes to the College World Series games,
Sure.
putting them on their hats. Just win, baby. Just win.
Well, that rally monkey thing was incredible back in 2000.
Oh, yeah, for the Angels.
For the Angels. It was just unbelievable.
But I think when you have those types of things that you can rally around or that you use as a rallying force, it eases that pressure off a little bit. You don't think so much about, I got to do this or I got to do that. And baseball is one of those games that it's nonstop pressure and the failure is immense, whether you're a pitcher or a position player.
Singles by Jeanette and Duvall after the first out in the inning. So here's the 8th man to bat in this 4-run third, and that's Jesse Winker. He struck out his first time up. Breaking ball, a strike.
Talk so much about slowing the game down and just playing. Everybody would love to be able to go out and play like you did in Little League and in your backyard and just play and have fun. But when there's money attached to it and you've got a 3, 4, 5, sometimes 7-deck stadium, pressure works on you a bit.
They'll get the out at first base. The other two will advance. Jeanette on the third, Duvall on the second. So Romano will bat with 2 down and runners in scoring position. Inning started with a walk to Hamilton, a single by Peraza. After getting ahead a ball and a couple of strikes on Barnard, who was sent up there to bunt. Boyd wound up walking him in front of the grand slam, and that ball will roll foul.
That looked like a swinging bunt, and it almost turned out to perfection.
And that's where Boyd's got to know better there. As soon as that ball rolls foul, he's got to make contact with that ball because it could spin back the other way. He ran right by it. I mean, as soon as that thing right now, he's got to make contact with that thing. We've seen stranger things.
Yes, we've seen him hit a rock and kick right back into fair territory or continue to roll down the line. There's a little more slant down towards third base, and it'll come right back towards the bag. Candelario wasn't waiting around.
No, he was not. Nothing in one. The count on Romano. And he pulls it to the second baseman. 9 of them back. 4 of them score, all on one swing of the bat by Joey. Fox and FS1. It all begins. Ronaldo in Portugal taking on Morocco at 7 a.m. Eastern on FS1. The World Cup tomorrow on Fox and FS1 to stream it all live on your Fox Sports app.
All right, Tom, I've got something for you. And,
yes, sir.
And you may chuckle when I tell you
yes,
this,
sir.
Or you may not. I just got a text.
Yes.
From Ashley.
Yes.
My wife.
Yes.
And you made a comment earlier about Johnny Bench.
Yes.
Well, they're watching the game. Mason, my son, my 11-year-old son,
yes.
turns around and looks at Ashley and he said, Mama, who's Johnny Bench?
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
Now, those that are our age would think that would be sacrilege.
You know what, though? That's what you find out. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do.
Just the way it is.
Absolutely, that's the way it is. Mason, I can assure you, you would have liked watching Mr. Bench play baseball.
Oh, yeah. I love you, buddy.
Mason's built kind of like Johnny Bench.
He's getting big. Tired of buying pants.
There's a base hit the other way for a good run to start this Detroit fourth. Reds lead 4-0. Ashley, hope you're doing all right. Everybody doing all right.
Oh, yeah. Those are things that surprise me, though. And I probably shouldn't be surprised, but they just surprise me. I just think that everybody knows. But if you're not taught that and you're not familiar with it all the time.
You know, one thing, I've made this mistake before with my own family. I'm not going to make it with yours. Elizabeth, I hope you're okay, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because
she's doing
I don't want to
better.
just say Ashley and Mace. So, Elizabeth, she's on the volleyball circuit these days, so we got to prop her up.
She's good to go.
She's earned it. Swing and a miss by John Hicks.
Did I ever tell you when I signed with the Giants that I wasn't really sure that Willie Mays was that great a player?
Again, there's a perfect example.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew he was a good player. I had no idea that he was that phenomenal of a player.
There's a ground ball. They get one and just a step late.
That's the difference when you're on the eastern side of the United States and Willie Mays is out there in San Francisco.
That's right. And back in those days, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't cell phones, there wasn't games on television every night.
Of course, at that point, I wasn't really sure where San Francisco was.
No doubt about it. I mean, you know, there are very few people, forget children, there are very few people in this country who can, you know, afford when they're growing up as a kid to travel from Mississippi to California, Cincinnati. I had never been to California until I started announcing the Reds games. And I was 23 years old.
Yeah. My first trip I played there.
Yeah, right. Reiner looks at a fastball in there, a strike.
It's one of those times where you get off the airplane and you think, boy, they sure got a whole lot of folks out here.
A little bit low. Romano so far has allowed 3 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 3.
But for the most part, for Romano, his misses are good misses, just like that last breaking ball. You start it in the zone, trying to get a rollover.
That is a double play to end the inning. How about that? Right on the bag, and Votto caught it and doesn't have to move. Reds lead 4-0.
Generosity of the Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. There's been this truck and this sign between the power stacks at Great American Ballpark. Hit a home run here and win a Toyota, and finally Jesse Winker made that happen. It was close. You can see he did not hit the sign directly with that shot against the Cardinals, but the Toyota dealers in our area decided close was good enough in this case, and they awarded the Toyota to Jamie Wemkin from Independence, Kentucky. So you're at the game here tonight to get the Toyota, but let's take it all the way back to how you registered or signed up to be involved in this, because this promotion's been going on for a while.
Yes, I hear 11 years. I was in the Toyota dealership getting my oil changed, and they were giving away some tickets to the Reds game in the Quaker State and asked me to fill out a form to register, and I honestly didn't even know I was filling out a form to win a truck at the Reds game.
Yeah. So honestly, that was one of those things, you did it and then never thought about it again, right?
Never thought about it again until actually 4 days later when I got the phone call.
So you literally registered 4 days before Winker hit that home run.
That's correct.
How did you find out?
I got a call from a Toyota representative Sunday afternoon, and I was kind of coming out of a nap, actually, because I had worked a long shift the night before, and I thought he was a telemarketer, actually, and I was just like, what's your points? You know, he said, he almost hit the sign, and I said, and? He said, you won a truck, and I screamed, and it wasn't really real until I started seeing my name in the news and on social media, and people are calling me. So.
All right. So you're here earlier this afternoon at the ballpark to see the truck and for kind of a ceremony, and Jesse Winker comes out. So I assume you had a chance to exchange a few words, maybe a thank you to Jesse Winker.
For sure, yes. I definitely did say thank you to him, and he signed a bat and gave me a bat, which was really, really cool. I got to shake his hand, and you know, it's just all unbelievable, and I just truly am blessed to have this experience, and thankful for Toyota and the Reds, of course.
Yeah. Who are we sharing this experience with tonight? You've got a whole line of seats here.
I do. I have my son over here. This is Dakota, and we got Marina. Over to my other side, this is my boyfriend, Rob, and his 2 children.
They're into the game.
Yeah, they're into the game. Austin and Nick down there watching the game.
Fantastic. Well, I assume that you're feeling like you're a truck gal. Like that truck's going to look pretty good wrapped around you, right?
That's gonna look good with me in it, and it's going to look good in my driveway.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, guys, it took a long time, but that close was good enough in this case, thanks to Jesse Winker and your Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Back upstairs to you guys.
That is great stuff, Brian. Great stuff.
Now that gal right there speaks my language.
Yes, she does.
She said oil, and that's what we call it, not oil. Like Modal.
She went and got an oil change.
Yeah, she got an oil change.
Very nice. That's great stuff, man. There's nothing cooler than that stuff. I've told the story a million times about how we were out in Arizona and Jay Bell won $1 million for a fan hitting a grand slam on a. I'll never forget her name as long as I live. Guyleen Hoyle. I will never forget it as long as I live. And when Bell walked up to the plate, he knew that he was coming to the plate with a chance to win that fan $1 million. He knew it when he was standing in the on-deck circle. He said it's the only time in his life he ever tried to hit a home run. Diamondbacks had a huge lead in that game.
And he did it.
And he did it. It was incredible. And he'll tell you to this day, this is a guy who scored the winning run in the bottom of the 9th inning, Game 7 of the World Series. And that is a fair ball by Tucker Barnhart. On his way to third is Peraza. They're going to wave him around. Here comes a throw from a shortstop, not nearly in time. Double by Barnhart. 5-0 Redlegs.
Breaking ball stays up around the catcher's mask. It's away from Barnhart enough to where the bat head catches it, and he hooks it right down the left field line. Long way to go for Reyes. And with the speed of Peraza, you can kiss the baby.
So Barnard drives in his 21st run of the year. Here's Votto. He knocked in 4 with one swing of the bat his last time up. A grand slam into the first row, just beyond the reach of Nicholas Castellanos in right field. Chris Bosio, we come to know him quite well through the years. Up until this year, he was a pitching coach for the Cubbies. Fly ball to right. Castellanos makes a play, and there are 2 out. All right, speaking of the Toyota sign, if a Red hits that sign tonight, Ronald Bauer from Morrow, Ohio, will win that Tundra. Thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Good luck. Why not give away another one? You know, every year they're so good about giving away that Tundra where a fan goes through the whole year and does not win it, and they'll donate it to a local fire department or EMS group,
a county
or a local town.
City agency that needs
exactly. Suarez, a liner caught, and that'll end the inning. Reds get a run on a double by Barnhart after a walk to Peraza and lead 5-0. Children's changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. A humid night in downtown Cincinnati. Very high temperatures, upper 90s earlier today with lots of sunshine. Votto a grand slam in the 4-run third. Reds add a run in the 4th, and here we go in the top of the 5th inning. Reds 5, Tigers nothing. Latter third due up. Reyes Iglesias will see if Boyd will bat. Trying to bunt his way aboard is Reyes. He bounced into a fielder's choice on a ground ball to Votto his first time up. Romano's allowed 3 hits, walk 2, fan 3. Brewers in front of the Pirates. That game as well in the top of the 5th inning. 3-0 Milwaukee. Phillies lead the Cardinals 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th. Pulled again to Votto. This time he'll handle it himself. And outs out number 1 in the Detroit 5th inning. You know, as predicted, a lot of storms in and around the area. Obviously, we're keeping our fingers crossed tonight. Be a 12:35 game here tomorrow. We invite you to come on down if you have nothing going on. Maybe scoot out of work a little bit early tomorrow. Reds will have Tyler Mahle on the mound, and he'll be opposed by Michael Fulmer. That'll be a 12:35 start. Reds Live begins at noon. Pinch hitter has moved into the on-deck circle. Fastball strike 0-2 on Iglesias.
Looks like Dixon Machado.
Yes. That one will fall in. Little looper into right field. Base hit for Iglesias. Coming up tomorrow, it's an all-new Reds Weekly. You can catch up with former Reds first baseman Hal Morris, some of his memories of that 1990 World Championship team. Reds assistant pitching coach Darren Ebert acted alongside Brad Pitt in the movie Moneyball. You want to check that out. Reds Weekly presented by Miami Valley Gaming. A new episode tomorrow night at 6 on Fox Sports Ohio, streaming on Fox Sports Go. Jeff Pecoro, Doug Flynn, your host for that tomorrow night.
Hal Morris could flat hit. Maybe unorthodox in a sense by the way he moved in the batter's box, but he got the barrel to the baseball.
So here is Machado. You see his numbers. Batting for Boyd, only lasts 4 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs earned. All 3 batters he walked came around to score. And he struck out 5. Two down in the inning. That didn't last long. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
It's the one thing about, and your dad and I were talking about this when we were in Kansas City. As an American League club, guys that play off the bench that would normally pinch hit, say, for the pitcher in a National League club, they don't get much work. And when you don't pinch hit very much and that situation arises and all of a sudden your adrenaline spikes and you're not real sure how to handle it, you end up swinging at pitches as he did there. That'd be one thing if you could bring Miguel Cabrera off.
Oh, yeah. Be a little different ball game. It's really a shame.
I know.
For fans in Reds country, because I don't think there's any debate about it. If you were to go through the top 10 hitters in the history of baseball, I think Miguel Cabrera certainly has to figure into that conversation, does he not? I mean, look at these numbers. Closing in on 500 home runs, 1,700 career runs batted in.
11 or 12 300 hitting at a batting average of 300 seasons. And I mean, I know people don't quite go with batting average as much as they did before, but you hit 300, you've done something.
And then throw in that thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a whole different cat when you start throwing in a guy that's going to hit 500 home runs and he's a 315 plus career average hitter. I mean, Cabrera, he gets back healthy, he's going to knock in over 2,000 runs.
I can still remember when he broke in with the Marlins. I was watching him take batting practice and playing in some of the games that we played against him. I thought, oh wow, that ball jumps off his bat.
Mm-hmm. I remember I was we were in Florida, had an off day with the Diamondbacks at the time. I mean, take a look at this. Among active players, 11 seasons, you pointed out, Cowboy, 300 or better. He'll add to that total. Now, Joey Votto, that would include right now. He has 7 of them. This would be his 8th if he could stay there. But I remember we were down in Miami, and you know, the newspapers were writing, you know, and you've got Miami newspapers, Fort Lauderdale newspapers, West Palm, they all cover the team. So there's a pretty good following in the press, maybe not much with the fans, but there's a lot of coverage with the press with the Marlins. And they were talking about, this player they needed to trade for, that player they needed to trade for, established guys. And one column, one tiny little paragraph said, or they could consider bringing up Miguel Cabrera. This guy was playing down at Double-A. Well, I didn't know anything about Miguel Cabrera. I don't think anybody did.
He was just a baby then.
19, I think. And they made the decision to bring him up. And, of course, he wound up being their best player.
Third base.
That's right.
And he's not the type of hitter that has that big, long power swing. He's short, he's quick, and when he hits it, it jumps. He creates his own juice.
Runner goes, throw down, and the runner is. Oh, the ball came out of Peraza's glove.
That was a phenomenal throw by Tucker Barnhart. You got a left-hander swinging, leaning over the plate. Watch how quick he gets rid of this baseball. Actually almost threw it from behind the batter. I mean, you're out if you catch it.
Popped out of there after making contact. So the stolen base for Iglesias, that's his 12th. 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes on Martin, who's 2 for 2 in the game tonight. Those aren't bad numbers for Mr. Martin here in this ballpark. Are you kidding me? 9 for 11.
Of course, that'll go down as a stolen base against Tucker Barnhart. But I'm not sure he could have done anything any better than what he did. Middle infielder, you got to catch the baseball.
There's a walk to Martin. 3 of them for Romano tonight. And I think Danny Darwin is going to be sent out by Jim Riggleman.
I think a lot of times when Darwin comes out, especially with a pitcher like Romano, it's a reminder of what you do best. Yeah, you may have a little bit of fatigue now that you've gotten to the 75, right around 75 pitches. You're in the 5th inning. Your strength is pitching down. Don't try to throw it any harder. Just get extension, get the ball down in the strike zone.
All right, so runners at first and second with 2 away. Candelario has popped to third and drawn a walk. He's had a couple of extended at bats. He has been by far the most patient hitter they've had come to the plate in the game tonight. Seen double-digit number of pitches already, and there's ball 1, a fastball nowhere close to the strike zone, way upstairs. Just overthrew that ball.
Well, you start to feel a little bit of fatigue on the mound. You think, all right, I've got to put a little extra on it. And you try to throw the ball too soon, the ball comes out early, and you get that type of result.
1-0 the count on Candelario. That one the upper part of the strike zone.
Your arm and your body are going to do what they're going to do. But from a mental standpoint, when you start to think, I've got to throw harder, I've got to do more, that's when you start to get out of whack mentally or mechanically, and your pitch location suffers.
Votto on the short hop will wave off Romano, and Sal pitches out of 2-out trouble. Tigers strand 2, and the Reds lead 5-0.
Senzel down on the farm, still sizzling, named to the MLB Pipeline Prospect Team of the Week. 7 multi-hit games in his last 8. Tonight so far he is 1 for 3 on the night, playing second base. So that streak also of reaching base safely is now at 18 consecutive games. Senzel at second tonight. He played short once. He's been in the leadoff spot, but nobody hotter right now in Louisville than former top pick for the Reds, Nick Senzel.
Been a lot of debate, a lot of conversation, a lot of talk about him coming to the big leagues. And last I saw, Nick Kroll said that's not even on the radar. It's not to say that's not subject to change. Warwick Saupaul takes over. He's had a tough time of it of late. He's been winning games but giving up a lot of runs. His last 8 in the 3rd innings, he's given up 6 on 10 hits. But he does have 4 wins out of the Tiger bullpen, and it's been a bullpen lately that's been really, really good. During this 5-game win streak, their bullpen earned run average 0.52.
Oh, I'll take that.
Well, the Reds bullpen had that kind of run for about, what, 2.5, 3 weeks there for a while. But now, you know, perhaps starting to see the first signs of a little fatigue down there. Reds did make a roster move earlier today. They sent Austin Bryce down. We wish him well. Hope to see him back. And brought Jackson Stevens back up. Scooter 2 for 2, now 2 for 3. On the ground out to short to begin the bottom of the 5th.
I think the Reds bullpen they've been fantastic. There have been a couple of guys that not quite the same years that they had last year, but overall, that bullpen for the Reds has been right on the money.
Well, especially once they got David Hernandez back and Michael Lorenzen back. I mean, they were good before those guys came back. They had a nice run at it, but well, Hernandez and Jared Hughes, you know, look, when you're 25 games, 19 games under 500, there aren't going to be a lot of people talking about what's good. I mean, let's be honest about it. But the signings of Hughes and Hernandez have been extraordinarily good for the Reds so far this year.
I think they've been put in a position to where if the Reds have a lead, they've been able to hold it. They've also pitched in spots where the Reds have been down a run or two, and they've been able to keep that 1 or 2 run deficit. And sometimes that's just as good as a hold or a save. You got to be able to keep it close.
That's where the Reds the last couple of years, and there were a lot of games they fell behind, but they had the kind of offense where they proved they could come back.
Right.
But when you fall behind by 2, and then the bullpen, gives up 3, now you're down by 5.
Right.
Maybe you get 3 more, you're down by 2 again. Now they give up another run, and it's constantly running uphill.
If you're winning by 3 and you come out of the bullpen, you give up a run, you still have the momentum. If you're down by 2 and you come out of the bullpen and you give up 1, the momentum is in the other dugout big time. Those insurance runs late are crushing.
Ball 4 and Adam Duvall. That's something this bullpen has not been doing during this 5-game win streak. They've only walked 1 batter while fanning 20. Well, thanks to our friends at Coca-Cola. July 2nd through the 4th, you can buy this $12 ticket package and receive a voucher for a free regular hot dog and a 16-ounce fountain drink at the game. Plus, catch amazing fireworks. That'll be on July the 3rd and the 4th. Purchase a great American deal today at Reds.com/deal. Remember, this great deal is only available through this ticket package. It's 4th of July.
Did I mention I'll take that Coke?
Yeah, I'll take the hot dog.
Boy, look at those numbers. 1 earned run in 17 and a 3rd innings. Folks, that's getting it. And only 4 walks. That's what I'm talking about.
1 on, 1 out for Winker. 0 for 2 is struck out and bounced to first base.
You can handle that in short spurts with 1 or 2 guys being able to put up those types of numbers. The Reds have been able to do it pretty much with the entire bullpen. I mean, they've had 4 or 5 guys that have been able to contribute and to continue to put zeros on the board, or at least keep the game close and not give up those, as you mentioned, the 3-run innings.
Well, for the first time all night, a lot of the fans are scurrying for cover. We're getting a very, very light rainfall, and that's been in the forecast, kind of hit or miss all night long. Saw a bolt of lightning off in the distance. May have heard some of the fans oohing and eyeing. There's a rocket into right. Castellanos will make the play. That's a good play out there. Hard hit ball by Jesse. 2 down in the inning.
The way that Winker hit that ball, if he has just a little bit of elevation in the swing, it's out of here, because he squared it about as good as you can square it.
Well, we saw the lightning, heard the rumble of thunder. And here's Romano. Strike 1. Sal 0 for 2 in the game. Is tapped out in front of the plate. Was thrown out by the catcher Griner, and then hit the ball hard right at Goodrum his last time out. Other interleague games tonight. Arizona will be in Anaheim. Atlanta beating up on Toronto, but a long way to go in that one. 8-4. Boy, the Braves, what a story they have been. We'll see them next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Atlanta. Looking forward to that trip. Really enjoyed that ballpark for the first time last year. Brand new stadium a year ago. What is that, SunTrust Field?
That is correct. You know what's amazing about what the Braves have done in their turnaround and their rebuild? They're starting to sell out that stadium. You win, they come.
Romano gone swinging, and that will end the inning. 1 man left. We've played 5 in the books. Reds lead by 5. Ballpark. That's coming this Friday. Don't forget, Cubbies will be in town. You can be here for as low as $12 in the fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Ron Reedy getting a lot of pub here tonight. Cowboy, are you familiar with the chicken dance? They're doing that right here, right now.
I do fried chicken, grilled chicken, barbecue chicken, and chicken and dumplings. Dancing, not so much.
But do you know what the chicken dance is?
Well, I do. You flap your arms.
Well, you start with your hands, like the beak, right? You know, you start there, right? And then you do the wings, and then you bop, 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 bop. So, you start that thing, you got da 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 da. Did I miss something in there? I feel like I missed one. No, you got to shake the hips. That's right. So you start off with the beak, and then you go the thing, and you shake your hips and bop, 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 bop. I knew I missed part of that. That's big league dance. I'm surprised you don't do that at home every now and again.
Well, whenever they do that in the stadium, I usually go get a Coke. Kids love it.
I mean, I'm one of those adults who love it. I just, I blacked out right there. The red camera light came on, and we've all been there. I locked up, and I dropped the ball. I mean, it's only so many times in your life that one can say they had a chance to do the chicken dance on television. And I completely screwed the whole thing up.
I thought you looked pretty good.
Well, but I messed it up. So, you move on. I mean, I mess up a lot. My wife reminds me of that constantly. But here's Castellanos leading things off. And he hooks it foul. Reds 5 runs, 6 hits. Sal Romano has shut out the Tigers on 4 hits. We are in the top of the 6th inning. Swing and a miss. Ball gets away from Barnhart. Long throw, but no problem for Tucker. 5th strikeout of the game for Sal Romano.
Sal Romano, we talked about being down in the strike zone. When you're down in the strike zone with your fastball, you get swings on breaking balls. When you're really down in the strike zone, it's tough to lift the baseball. Even the changeup for Sal Romano tonight. And that's a major confidence pitch for Sal Romano. Every single pitch that you throw, especially as Sal Romano, comes off the fastball. Fastball down, breaking ball looks that much better, and the changeup as well. But no fastball, no success.
1-0 on Goodrum. And now a ball and a strike. He is struck out swinging and singled into left field. Romano's fan 5, walked 3, allowed 4 hits. And each of the hits has been a single. Three and 2 to Goodrum. Can't be walking guys here with a 5-0 lead. Buries a fastball that Goodrum's able to drop foul out of play off to the third base side. Indians in front of the White Sox tonight, 4-1. That game in the 7th inning. That's 4 walks in a game tonight for Romano. Well, the Reds and the Tigers will wrap up this interleague series tomorrow. Reds Live gets underway at noon. Have it for you right here on Fox Sports Ohio, and of course, as always, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Swing into summer, presented by Click It or Ticket. Rain continuing to fall, and there's a matchup tomorrow of Fulmer v. Malley. Couple of right-handers. Strike one on John Hicks.
We've seen a lot of strike one from Sal Romano tonight. You get ahead, you get outs. See, that fastball down by Romano is what gets him those swings on sliders in the dirt. When you're watching at home, you think, how's that guy swing at that? It's in the dirt. Because he's trying to get to the fastball. Everything comes off the fastball. That's what you pitch off of.
Spun a breaking ball up there right there, and it's popped up in front of the plate. Votto coming down the line. Easier play for him for the second out of the inning. So with 2 away, it'll be the catcher Grayson Griner, who's drawn a walk and hit a bullet line drive caught by Votto right next to the bag. The runner down there at first had taken a lead. It was an easy double play to end the 4th inning.
You know, I know there were a lot of detractors in the game that Romano pitched against the Kansas City Royals. That's the Royals. They're terrible.
Sure.
What it does is it builds confidence, and it allows you to establish some semblance of comfortable rhythm on the mound. You take that rhythm into your next start. You try to keep that same confidence level, and you branch out. All of a sudden, you're not just pitching good against the Kansas City Royals or the Detroit Tigers, but you're pitching good against the Cubs and the Nationals and the teams that matter.
And that will be Romano's next start against the Chicago Cubs. That would be on Sunday afternoon to wrap up that 4-game weekend series. We don't know if the Cubbies are going to pitch the last 2 games of that series yet. They had to play a doubleheader today, so they've got some decisions to make. We know that Matt Harvey will go against Kyle Hendricks Thursday night. Friday night, Luis Castillo and Jose Quintana. DeSclafani and Romano will go the final 2 games for the Reds. We don't know the Cubbies.
Oh, that one hurt me right there.
You wanted that, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Now let's make no mistake about it. I'm a pitcher's pitcher, and that was a strike in my book.
Well, that's strike 3 right there. Yep. See you later.
Booyah.
He went around. 6 of them for Romano. 6 innings of shutout baseball.
On that off day, it was Reds Day at the Cincinnati Zoo. And so Michael Lorenzen, Jared Hughes, and Amir Garrett stopped by and answered some questions for some of the kids at the zoo, but it also gave Lorenzen, Garrett, and Hughes a chance to walk around and take in one of the best zoos in the country. Amir Garrett obviously stopping by to take a look at some of the birds. And when you say zoo, Jared Hughes, you know his nickname is the Ostrich. He took this selfie with an ostrich who obviously has his head buried in the sand. He had his son there who's almost 2 years old. He said it was a fantastic day, but he had to make that stop by the ostrich pen.
Well, of course he did. And of course, Brian, there is a tie-in to the Cincinnati Zoo, world famous Cincinnati Zoo, at the game tonight.
Yeah, Hughes said his son is a huge Fiona fan, and he's not alone in that category. That has become a sensation around the country. There were people here from out of state tonight for Zoo Night at the ballpark because they purchased that ticket package that got them the Fiona bobblehead.
Wow.
The Reds estimate they sold more than 10,000 of those tickets in that package, and as a result, they donate $2 for every ticket package sold back to the zoo. So that's also a nice night for the zoo. About 20 grand going back to support that fantastic organization as well.
That's good stuff. Thane Maynard, of course, has run the Cincinnati Zoo for many, many, many years. Does an incredible job with his staff. And of course, the former Reds owner, Marge Schott, used to donate so much money to the Cincinnati Zoo. That one hooked into right field off the bat of Billy Hamilton, and that one will fly out of here. Hamilton, number 3 on the year.
Oh, Billy, 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 Billy.
He was on base 3 times yesterday, scored 3 runs. He's been on base twice today, has scored 2 runs. 5 for his last 5.
What is amazing about the pitch that Hamilton just hit out, it was a curveball. That has been the ultimate nemesis for Billy Hamilton from the time he stepped into a professional uniform.
Sharply hit ball by Peraza, but fielded by Iglesias for out number 1 here in the Reds 6, a 6-0 lead. Now Tucker Barnhart, the batter. Tucker has been on base 3 times tonight. Hit by a pitch, drew a walk, scored a run on the Votto grand slam in the 3rd, then knocked in a run with a double up the left field line in the 4th inning. One ball and 2 strikes. Matthew Boyd, the starter tonight, gave up 5 runs all earned in 4 innings, 6 hits, fan 5, walked 3. Saupold has given up his first run in this his second inning out of the bullpen. Tucker on for the fourth time tonight. 2 hits, a walk, and been hit by a pitch. It's a good night for Tucker Barnard.
That was not a bad pitch. Tucker just went down and got it. Did not try to do too much with it. Just shot it right back at the pitcher.
Now Joey Votto, 1 of 3, but the one a big one, as big as you can get in this grand game of baseball. That is a grand slam. A fly ball to the front row in right field in the 3rd inning. And this was it right here. I mean, it barely was beyond the reach of Castellanos. In fact, it looked like he probably could have had that ball. I'm not saying should have, but could have.
Got to have a little hops.
Reds have 5 of those this year. Only the high-flying Boston Red Sox, and boy, they're high-flying. 49 and 24 on the year, with more. I think both pitchers have been a little perplexed on the strike zone tonight. Tonight's IGS bringing the energy. How about the duo of Eugenio Suarez and Scooter Gennett? Only behind J.D. Martinez and the Madeira High School grad Andrew Benintendi for runs batted in by any duo among baseball this year. J.D. Martinez used to play for these Detroit Tigers. They traded him to Arizona last year. That was a big deal. And then signed late as a free agent, going to Boston. Turned out to be a big time pickup. I don't think that surprises anybody. And this guy needing a compass to find the strike zone. 6-0 ball game, and the catcher out to have a word. Griner. Well, Cowboys really been dialed into this College World Series with his alma mater, Mississippi State, giving a thumping to North Carolina earlier today. You were on the prowl for my dad, a North Carolina alum, to remind him of that score today.
They're in the catbird seat.
2-0 the count. Swinging a foul ball out of play. Of course, the Reds' first-round pick, Jonathan India, is playing in a College World Series. Brian?
Yeah, Tom, India and the Gators took on Texas today in an elimination game, and the Gators won 6-1 in that game. India 2 for 5, a home run and 4 driven in. He's now 3 for 7 with a home run and a triple in his first 2 games. The Gators now will move on and take on the loser of Arkansas and Texas Tech.
I really believe that India is on the climb. Last year,
there's the base hit into right field. They are going to hold the runner at third, Tucker Barnhart.
Last year for India was an okay year. Made some adjustments to his swing. It just seems like he's progressed over and over and over as time has come. The thing that people don't realize is not only is he a great hitter, he can play defense and he can run. There were a couple times when he was playing that I heard the commentators talking about his arm.
Base is loaded for Jeanette. Straight up into the air. And that'll be the second out of the inning.
They were talking about his arm and dropping the elbow. There are times when you see India go a ground ball and he'll go past the third baseline, plant, take that arm up and throw a laser across the diamond. He is not just a third baseman. He can play shortstop. He can play second. He has the speed to play in the outfield. He's a very versatile player, and probably more so than anything else, he's a flat-out gamer.
Well, we'll find out soon enough.
He wants to beat you bad.
Swing and a miss by Duvall. As soon as his college season is over and Reds get him signed and all that kind of thing, and they'll have him on his way. And we'll see where they end up putting him. Reds have been a little on the conservative side, some might say, in how quickly they move some players through. I mean, Senzel is, what, 2 years removed from being a first-round pick and a college player in the powerful SEC. And now he's had some injury issues and vertigo this year, but, you know, this is his first full year at AAA.
Well, both of those players were the SEC players of the year. And that's a tough conference. You hit in that conference, you've done pretty well.
In fact, the Reds' brand new minor league team down in Greenville, Tennessee, has its first game tonight as a Reds affiliate. I want to tell you what now, and I said it the other day, that is as nice a minor league ballpark as there is in America, and it is a single A ballpark. I mean, it is incredible. We were there on the Reds Caravan this year when they announced that brand new affiliate.
Well, you and I have talked about this many times on the air, that the Reds minor league system is as good as it gets as far as ballpark and amenities and places to play for the kids. And that's not eyewash. That's a fact.
That's a fact. 2-2 on Duvall with the bases loaded and 2 away. Bottom of the 6th inning. All Reds so far here tonight. Sinking liner will go all the way to the wall and will clear the bases more than likely. They're going to note they're going to hold the trail runner Suarez. 2-run double by Duvall makes it an 8-0 Reds lead.
Did you see that ball hit the wall? The spin on it kicked it right back to the right fielder Castellanos.
Crowd continues to react to that bird that remains on the field, or was on the field earlier. Or is it still on the field? Yeah, out there in left center. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Back in a moment. 3 times in it, I beg your pardon. Drew Verhagen takes over on the mound, his 14th game. He has been a starter and a really good one so far this year for their AAA team.
Yeah, it was their minor league pitcher of the month for May. All starting and trying to get his feet wet here in the big leagues.
Up and down a lot last year. Their AAA team is in Toledo, so I mean that's a rock throw from Detroit. Short, quick drive in case you need to get a player, much like the Reds have with Louisville. Even closer, actually, Toledo and Detroit.
I twitch my head to the left to you when you say Louisville.
Well, you know, I mean, I kind of bounce around all over the place. I mean, I get in one sort of mode where, you know, grew up around here, call it Louisville. And then sometimes just kind of do it like I always remembered before we lived here, and then long after I was gone, which was just Louisville.
Well, if you head down my way, it's Louisville.
Right. Yeah, you have one down there, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, you do.
Just thought I'd tell you.
In Mississippi. I remember you talked about that the last time you were over here. Here's a check swing and a miss by Winker, and he's out of there on strikes to end the inning. So it's spelled the same way, but you pronounce it how?
Louisville.
Louisville. We'll start calling it that. Honda, and we'll break it all down after the game tonight. Back with our entire crew, Brian Giesenslaw, the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us here at the ballpark tonight. And obviously the offense has done its part. The grand slam by Votto, 8 runs, 10 hits. But Sal Romano, you talked about him before we ever got started tonight. Another very impressive outing for him.
I think confidence is the greatest thing for this kid, as it is with any pitcher. You continue to build on one game to another, and even though we talked about this, all right, Royals, now he's pitching against the Tigers, Cubs next, could be awfully fun.
All right, so Romano with 95 pitches now, he's going to be able to go out there for this 7th inning, and why not? You have an 8-0 lead. It has been rare where, you know, whether it was Brian Price or Jim Riggleman, where you're getting starters that are pitching much beyond 5 innings. And, you know, let's see what this young man is made of. Pitching beyond the 6th and right around the 100 pitch mark. You never see it in minor league baseball anymore. And we've talked about this all the time. I don't know why anybody would ever think we should expect major league pitchers that are coming up to do it when you never ask them to do it in the minor leagues. It's like in asking somebody, a quarterback, to run a 2-minute drill, and you take him out of the game with 4 minutes left every single time. That's just one of the things I continue to just be bewildered by when it comes to baseball, is that, you know, I say it all the time, Cowboy, you know, you got to practice, physically practice, mentally practice.
You have
your
to
craft.
learn.
And when you're never asking a guy ever to do something in the minor leagues, why in the world would people bash these young pitchers because they don't pitch more than 5 innings in a game?
Learn how to pitch tired.
But they don't do it in the minor. They do it in college ball. They let guys pitch.
They do.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think the tide is starting to turn a little bit on that. Because I really believe that if a pitcher is going to get hurt, and we've seen exorbitant numbers of pitchers on the DL more now than we ever have in baseball, because we let them pitch 100 pitches in 4 innings in the minor leagues, and they get up here and people wonder, well, wonder why you got hurt. Hello. Pitch 7 innings. Figure out a way to pitch 7 innings in the minor leagues. Let them fail in the minor leagues, not at the big league level.
Fly ball center. Hamilton will get it on a 2-2 pitch, and that's out number 1 in the 7th inning.
The thing about it is, when you learn to pitch with fatigue, you learn how to pitch. There are a lot of guys that can go out and throw 4 innings, max effort. You're still not pitching. Might as well be playing right field, just airing it out to home plate.
Here's Iglesias. Strike 1.
There are times that you learn a lot about yourself in adversity. And if you learn how to use your changeup and your breaking ball when you're really, really tired, boy, you talk about the greatest confidence builder of all time. Because when you get up here, you start to get fatigue and things start to get a little bit sideways, they take you out of the game. You've accomplished nothing. In the minor leagues, you have the luxury of running them out there over and over again.
Hamilton, a great jump on that line drive for out number 2, and the pitcher, the relief pitcher, will bat.
But let me ask you this on that same vein, and I'll get off of it. If you own the ball club, would you not rather pay a guy at a minor league salary that gets hurt, because they're going to get hurt sooner or later, or would you rather him come to the big leagues and have this huge contract and get hurt and sit on the DL and sit back there and watch TV, and you're paying him massive millions of dollars?
That's a question that needs no answer. Slam dunk. Bouncing ball to the right side. 1, 2, 3 for Romano. Now his spot's due to lead off. 7 innings of shutout baseball for big Sal Romano.
Reds history brought to you by Geico. 31 years ago, yes, that is Paul O'Neill on the mound for the Reds. He made his one and only pitching appearance in a 16-5 loss to the Braves at Riverfront. He pitched a scoreless seventh, then gave up that home run, 3 earned runs. So he finished with 2 innings pitched, a couple of hits, 3 earned, 2 strikeouts, and 4 walks. Paul O'Neill, 31 years ago today, the one time he towed the rubber in a big league game.
How about that? Of course, Paul still makes his home right here in Greater Cincinnati. A lot of congratulations going on in that Reds dugout. Sal Romano will be pinch hit for to lead off this 7th inning. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs. Back-to-back outstanding starts for the big right-hander.
I'll say this, Tom. The congratulations and all of the things that Sal is getting here tonight, well deserved, but more than anything else, a tremendous confidence booster, especially coming off that last start.
Over 31,000 on hand tonight. Scott Schebler batting for Romano. Schebler will be followed by Hamilton and then Peraza. So Romano, for the 2nd time, the starter 7 innings or more, most on this team. Homer Bailey had the only other one. That was very, very early in this season. So few and far between would be an understatement. On swinging Schebler. Back-to-back strikeouts for the Detroit right-hander since coming in the game. And the 107 pitches, by the way, for Romano, a season high. So here's Billy, who's had back-to-back good games offensively. He has walked, scored, bounced to short, hit a solo home run to right his last time up. Pulled into right field, and another base hit for Billy. Back-to-back games, 8 or more for the Redlegs. First time in, well, since last August. Prior to Sunday, it had been 42 games since the Reds had scored 8 or more in a game. The last 5 times Billy Hamilton has reached base in the last 2 games, he has scored every time. Let's see if that streak continues. 8 runs, 11 hits for the Reds, no runs, and 4 hits for the Tigers. Cubbies and the Dodgers are playing a doubleheader today and tonight. Dodgers won the first game at Wrigley Field 4-3. They're already in the 6th inning of game 2. No score. Cubs went into play tonight. Percentage points ahead of Milwaukee atop the National League Central. The Brewers are playing in Pittsburgh. They've lost 3 in a row, but they were up 3-0. There's one. And no on doubling up.
That hit the pitcher in the face.
Oh my gosh.
That may have broken his nose. He is wiping blood from everywhere. think he's going to be able to continue. You can see this here. Gets up. That's not good.
Certainly hope he's all right.
You catch a baseball on your nose, got a little problem. Actually got a big problem.
Hopefully that young man's okay. So we'll have a pitching change, and the pitcher will have as much time as he needs. Coming out of the Detroit bullpen, it's going to be Buck Farmer. Right from the get-go, starting with Sal Romano, coming off an 8-inning, 1-run performance in Kansas City. 7 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball tonight. Offensively, the Reds in the third loaded him up for Joey Votto. A fly ball just out of the reach of Castellanos, went for a grand slam. Looks like it actually hit his glove and then went over the wall. The Reds would get a home run from Billy Hamilton. Got a 2-run double from Adam Duvall. All part of a 3-run 6th inning to blow this thing wide open 8-0. And here just moments ago, Drew Verhagen having to leave the field, taking a relay throw that hit him in the face. And so Buck Farmer will have as much time as he needs to get loose.
You just saw the numbers for Buck Farmer. 21 walks in the 32 innings. That is his Achilles heel.
So Tucker Barnhart looks at a strike. 1 out, 1 on. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Tucker started 2, and they appeal. He does not go around. Been a real good night for Tucker Barnhart. On base 4 times, been hit by a pitch, drew a walk, scored a run, had an RBI double in the 4th inning, singled and scored in the 6th. 4 times been on base tonight.
What's amazing about Barnhart is his ability to foul pitches off to the left side, but his power comes down the right field line into right center field.
Popped up. This is trouble for the Tigers. Are you kidding me? Did he make that play? No, he did not. Nearly a remarkable play made by Goodrum out in right center field. And it must have popped out of there at the last minute. It looked momentarily, and of course we were completely blocked by it, but it looked as though he almost caught it. Nope.
When you see a hitter at the plate fighting off pitches away, down the left field line, down the left field line, down the left field line, all of a sudden pitch comes in. And granted, he didn't hit that ball very hard, but that is the point where Tucker Barnhart hits the ball. Right center field, down the right field line, more times than not. That's where he can put a charge into the baseball.
So Tucker Barnhart on all 5 times tonight, all 5 plate appearances. And here's Joey. Buck Farmer has a very hard time throwing strikes. He has the worst walk rate in all of Major League Baseball among relievers with 30 or more innings of work, falling behind Votto 2-0. 3-0. They're loaded for Eugenio Suarez.
You get a strikeout, base hit by Hamilton. You get the fielder's choice by Peraza. You got 2 outs. And now you're in big time trouble.
Suarez 1 of 4, singled into right field his last time up.
What great composure from Eugenio Suarez. You see him stand at the plate. Guy makes a great pitch. Guy makes a pitch that might be off the plate. About as cool as they come. He's looking for a pitch in a spot. You throw it there, he kills it.
Suarez hit by a pitch to bring in another run. That'll make it 9-0.
Nothing like getting your 53rd RBI the hard way.
Any way you can get him. So you can see why Farmer, those numbers are what they are. I mean, walked Votto, the prior batter, on 4 pitches. He gets ahead 2 strikes and then nails a guy with the bases loaded. Here's Jeanette. Nowhere near the strike zone, ball 1.
See so many pitchers today trying to cut it, run it. Pitch to the edges of the plate. You're going to make more mistakes trying to create a pitch or create extraordinary movement. And we see it all the time, not just Buck Farmer. It's all over baseball.
9 runs, 12 hits for the Reds, no runs, 4 hits for the Tigers. We are just in the 7th inning. They're saying it's a bruised nose and thankfully not a broken nose for Verhagen, who left the game. So that's good news. Sure, it's extremely sore. 2-2 on Jeanette.
You know as well as I do, Tom, if you take your finger and just thump right in the middle of the nose, just your finger, just a little thump, makes your eyes water.
No question.
You get hit by a baseball on a return throw, some 80, 90 miles an hour.
High fly ball into right field. This time it will stay in the yard. And the inning is over. That bird's still out there. He almost ran over that thing.
Video with hashtag hats off for heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Great American Ballpark, some news and notes around Major League Baseball. The Reds just saw Kelvin Herrera in Kansas City. A few days later, he is on the move, going to the Nationals yesterday in a deal. Yadier Molina started His 1,758th game tonight behind the plate. He broke the record yesterday for most starts by a catcher with a single team. Gabby Hartnett of the Cubs set that record in 1941, and big, sexy 45-year-old Bartolo Colon passed Juan Marichal for most wins in Major League history by a Dominican-born pitcher. He just keeps getting it done.
How about that? Those are some great notes in and around baseball. David Hernandez takes over on the mound for the Reds following 7 shutout innings from Sal Romano, and some other changes include Shevler staying in the game to play right field. Brandon Dixon replaces Joey Votto over at first. And it'll be Blandino for Scooter. Reds lead 9-0. Top of the 8th inning. Very, very, very good numbers for Hernandez.
How many times you go into the off season, you're signing not closers, but middle relief guys that you hope can stabilize your bullpen, and you get the kind of performance that the Reds have gotten from David Hernandez and Jared Hughes. That's a gold mine. That's as good as it gets from a front office standpoint, doing their homework and doing that.
Martin thought each of the last 2 pitches were out of the zone. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. You know, the question for the Reds front office is going to be, make no mistake about it, if Hughes and Hernandez continue to pitch really, really well. Now, you're right, neither one are closers, although Hughes has closed a couple of games this year. There's ball 4. The Reds gave each of these guys 2-year contracts, and good contracts for the Reds. And they've really helped shore up what has been the worst bullpen by far in Major League Baseball the last 3 years. I mean, it's not even close. So the question you ask yourself is, there will be teams that come calling Nick Krall and Dick Williams, inquiring about both Hernandez and Hughes once you get into, say, the middle or very late July. And, you know, if you're the Reds, what do? You've got him on a good contract for next year. Who's going to replace him if you trade him away? And really, at the end of the day, what are you going to get for either one of them? You might get a little more than you would expect because they have another year on a contract as opposed to a guy who's a free agent. Maybe. But you're still talking about guys well into their 30s. And I'm not sure how many teams are going to say, okay, we'll take this the rest of the year. Oh, and again next year. And give you a lot. I don't know.
Well, my opinion on it, you took the worst bullpen pretty much in the Major League Baseball. You added 2 pitchers, veteran pitchers. And look at the difference that it's made here early in this season. Would you not think to yourself, if you're the decision maker, what if I did that in the starting rotation? Put a couple of guys in there. They lead the young guys. Granted, you have coaches, but I can tell you as a player, you listen to the veteran players or veteran pitchers much more than you do anyone else. They're your peers. You're with them 24/7 pretty much during the season.
Well, really, the only veteran they have around is Homer Bailey.
I'll say it again. 2 pitchers that you signed in your bullpen, phenomenal. 2 pitchers that you can sign in the starting rotation that will communicate with the pitchers that are the young guys. You have arms. There is no doubt the Reds have arms. The problem is they don't understand exactly how they're supposed to get by. Just making a point.
Ronnie Rodriguez is up there pinch hitting. One on, one out in the 8th inning. Dodgers have taken a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning, trying to sweep a doubleheader at Wrigley Field tonight. The Pirates have scored twice. They're in the 9th. Brewers 3, Pittsburgh 2. Nationals beating up the Orioles 9-6. Cardinals have come back and lead in the bottom of the 8th inning in Philadelphia 6-4. Mets and the Rockies just underway.
As a young pitcher, I learned more from Mike Krukow and Rick Russell, Don Robinson, than I did from anybody. There are some pitchers that on your club, they work. They're in the locker room. They're there every day. They don't communicate. They don't talk to the young pitchers. They don't teach them how to pitch. They don't talk to them about what they're supposed to do.
That's where Bronson Arroyo is so good for this team. He used to do that pretty regularly.
The makeup of the club is critical. Just because a guy pitches good or just because the guy is there doesn't mean he's a communicator.
No. Be the 10th pitch in this at bat to Rodriguez.
You have arms in this system. You have arms. You want to teach them. You want to let them just sit there.
Pitch at bat, and Hernandez puts away Rodriguez with a strikeout. How about that?
Slider right on the outside corner. You can see Rodriguez bailing just a bit.
Rocket into center field off the bat of Goodrum. He has a couple of hits tonight, been on base 3 times. So 2 on here in the Tigers' 8th inning. Walking a single, and Hicks a batter 0 for 3. Kid Glove night tonight, and the Fiona bobblehead giveaway. Over 31,000 passed through the gates tonight at the ballpark. And the home team's been mighty good. 9-12 the runs and the hits. Tigers have been shut out on 5 hits, and Hernandez trying to keep it a shutout. 0-2 on Hicks. Monty Peralta down throwing in the Reds bullpen.
You were talking about Hughes and Hernandez and closing opportunities, and a lot of that dictates whether you're going to trade Iglesias or not. But you've got some guys down there that can do it.
1 hit, 2 left. Middle of the 8th, 9-0 Reds. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We'll do it tomorrow at high noon. Tyler Mahle in a couple of interleague starts so far this year has been very good. 1 run he's allowed in 12+ innings. Threw very well in Minnesota. That was a video from that game, and then had a good game his last start. Did not allow a single run in Kansas City. Still Farmer on the mound, and here's Duvall, who has 2 hits, been on base 3 times, knocked in a couple of runs. It would be nice to see him get going. Cowboy, you brought that up earlier in the game. I think everybody around this ball club roots like crazy for Duvall. He's one of the more popular players in that clubhouse.
He's popular because he brings it every day. He hustles down the line. He hustles in left field. He does everything that you want a player to do. The key is he's got to get it going offensively. There comes a point in time where you have to forget about the outfield rotation. When it's your turn, do your job.
To left field, and Adam has his 3rd hit tonight. 4th time he's been on base. Coming in his 2nd. Here's a throw, and he is in there safely with a double. A single and a pair of doubles tonight for Duvall.
That's a hustle double, but you would expect nothing less from Adam Duvall. If you're a hitter or a pitcher, or really a fielder, and you let it get in your mind, I have to get a hit, I have to make a good pitch here, I have to catch this ball, you're putting way too much pressure on yourself. This game's already about pressure. Just play the game.
Brandon Dixon bats for the first time. Phillies have come back in the 8th inning to tie the Cardinals 6-6. Cardinals had a 6-4 lead. Philadelphia ties it in the bottom of the 8th.
Bullpen, bullpen, bullpen.
Well, we were talking, last couple of days, were it not for the way the Cardinals have dominated the Reds, they've won 9 out of 10 games. That team's 4 or 5 games under 500 on the year.
May have a new closer.
He probably didn't give it up in the 8th.
I don't even know if he's there yet. But Herrera is one of those guys that any closer.
Yeah.
You pitch late in the game. You pitch that 9th inning. Anytime you put them in the 8th, it takes them out of their ordinary routine.
Well, that's what happened. Remember that one of the worst trades, and I mean, you give it up to the guy for trying, right?
Herrera's with the Nationals,
right? Is Mike Rizzo when he brought in Papelbon. Now, a lot of people thought it was a good move. A lot of people weren't so sure what that chemistry would be like. We found out what that was like down the road. Nonetheless, it asked Drew Storen, who had been the closer of the team. Now, look, if you're Mike Rizzo, you watch Storen spit it up the year before when they were in the playoffs, and you're thinking, I'm not going to watch this again, because it was starting to happen to Storen a little bit then. And then when he went to the 8th inning, he was just not the same guy after that. And now Mike Rizzo pulls a trigger yet again. He was a guy that told me point blank 3 years ago, said I'd have given up the entire ranch and the farm for Aroldis Chapman. And that was the year the Reds decided not to trade Chapman. And the rest, as they say, is history. The Reds traded Chapman. They don't have a single player that has played an inning from that trade on this team right now.
As a general manager, you have to take the pulse of your team, because one little upset of what's going on, the popular player that feels good about himself, guys like him, he's doing his job, he's working hard, and all of a sudden you take him out of the role that he's in. That affects your clubhouse.
Sure it does. Sure it does.
And what it does is affects your clubhouse, and it also affects the way that you approach the game.
Two balls and a strike on Schebler with 1 out and Duvall at second base. Rays finish off the Blue Jays in Toronto tonight 11-4. That's a final. Indians win over the White Sox 6-3. And the Yankees 7-2 winners tonight. Yankees win every night. They are 48-22.
How about Severino?
How about all of them? It's one of the youngest teams in baseball, the Yankees. The way they flipped that roster. And of course, with their payroll, they're still paying guys a lot of money that might not even be playing for them. So their payroll is a little misleading. But the guys that are playing regularly for them They got a couple guys making big money, but they got a lot of young guys that don't. So now the batter, Billy Hamilton. He's been on base 3 more times.
Yankees have probably 3, maybe 4 guys in their bullpen that could close for most major league teams.
Of course. Yeah, but Tansis is sort of weird, though. There are games where he looks like the most unhittable pitcher on the planet. And then there's stretches where, I mean, he has a hard time throwing the ball over the plate and getting anybody out, doesn't he?
When you throw the baseball and the first thing that you do, instead of looking at the umpire, whether it's a strike or a ball, you turn and look at the radar gun. That's not good.
To the right side, and that'll take care of Billy. So we are off to the 9th. 3 outs away from a shutout win for the Reds. Or more on car insurance. And buy Toyota for over 30 offers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. On the banks of the Ohio. Great American Ballpark. And Wandy Peralta is summoned to try and pick up the final 3 outs. They're trying to get Peralta straightened out. This is a guy who was just incredible for this Reds team right up until he quite honestly just ran out of steam. He was used so frequently last year, not the last 4 weeks of the season. It certainly diminished what was a great year for Peralta. But this year, he has been haunted by command issues, has had a terrible time throwing strikes, and he's come in to face the first batter and fallen behind 2-0. Reds lead 9-0. Votto a grand slam and a 4-run third. Billy Hamilton a home run and a 3-run 6th. Tucker Barnhart's been on base 5 times tonight. There's a base hit into left field. Adam Duvall has 3 hits, has been on base 4 times, has 2 doubles and 2 runs batted in. Billy Hamilton, 2 hits, 2 runs scored, knocked in a run. Been a good night.
When you're Wandy Peralta and you start to get in tough spot where he is now. You have to forget about the walks, getting hit. You have to think down middle, down middle. You get a line drive right at somebody, you get a double play, build on confidence, forget about the corners. Those are the things that will bring you back to norm.
Peralta's fallen behind Iglesias at 2 balls and no strikes. Well, the last thing in the world that Jim Riggleman wants to do is get another pitcher in the bullpen started. And I think that he might be considering that right about now, unless.
Well, sometimes you have to leave a guy out there and let him work it out.
Jacoby Jones has moved into the on-deck circle. 2 balls and a strike on Iglesias. 1 for 3 in the game. Battled back from 2-0 to get to 2-2. And another base hit into right. And now Danny Darwin's going to come out for a visit to the mound.
You know, this is one of those times for any pitcher. You've got a 9-0 ball game. You leave him out there because what will happen sooner or later, the adrenaline and the fight will kick in. Then you'll find yourself. And right now, Wandy Peralta's having a very difficult time finding himself. There's no doubt that he has good stuff. Throws the ball 97 miles an hour with an 86-mile-an-hour changeup. That's great physical tools. The problem for Peralta right now is from the neck up. He's starting to think about it too much. He wants to do well. He's thinking all the time, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. No, you don't have to do anything. What you have to do is make pitches one after another.
Jacoby Jones, a pinch hitter, looks at foul. Farmer goes an inning and 2/3, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, a strikeout, a hit batter. And now the Reds are going to get action in their pen. Dylan Floro is starting to throw. 3 batters, 3 hits to start the Tigers' 9th.
Many times for me, Tom, Peralta jumps at the plate. That tells me he's trying too hard. Last year, that was not the case. Smooth, big pitches. Goes back to what we were talking about with starters. First inning, adrenaline through the roof. You're trying to throw the ball through the backstop. That's not pitching, that's throwing.
Two balls and two strikes on Jacoby Jones. Bases loaded with nobody out. Full count.
See, right now, when you watch the pitches from Peralta, he's trying to strike out the batter. He's trying to make pitches out of the zone where the hitter will go after them. That doesn't work up here. You have to make your pitch, make them hit your pitch. Don't let them hit your pitch, make them hit your pitch. It's a mindset more than anything else.
Well, Floro's ready in that bullpen. Peralta, a count of 3-2. We'll do it again. Three balls and two strikes. Well, Peralta is at least throwing strikes. But the question is, how long can he keep it up? Jones continues to foul him off.
But the key for Peralta is don't try to trick the hitter. He's way behind the fastball. You throw something off speed in the middle of the plate, you're in trouble. Stay aggressive, go after the hitter.
Single walk. Tigers are on the board for the first time, and I don't think Jim Riggleman's going to watch it. I mean, he can say all the right things he wants to after the game, but you could not blame him for 1 second if he is on the borderline of losing any faith in Peralta. The way his season is going so far, and the Reds need Peralta to be good.
They do. And I think that's why Jim Riggleman is staying with Peralta here, trying to help him figure it out. It's amazing, out of the bullpen, one inning or one pitch, it clicks, and then all of a sudden everything smooths back out again.
He has given Peralta, I mean, almost the ideal situation. You're ahead 9-0.
Correct.
He's facing 6, 7, 8 in the batting order in the top of the 9th inning when your opponent has just been whooped. And Wandy's still looking for the first out of the inning. Pulled foul by Martin. He's had a good game tonight. 4 plate appearances, 2 singles and 2 walks. He's had a good game. Reds were making a bid for what would have been just their second shutout, or their third, I beg your pardon, this year. Few Tigers fans here tonight. That's an easy drive straight down 75.
How far are we from there?
We're about 4 hours.
That's not too bad.
Give or take, you know, a little less than that, depending on with you driving, might be an hour and a half. Swinging a foul ball out of play. Not bad. It's easy. Straight up, straight shot. 75, doe to doe, as they say. It runs from the Canadian border right across from Detroit, Michigan, all the way nearly to the Florida Keys. I-75. Just keep it rolling. You know what I mean, Cowboy?
I know exactly.
Right through the big city not far from you, Hot Atlanta.
Peralta is throwing his changeup. It's never starting on the plate. It's way down low. In order to get a swing from a hitter, the pitch has to start on the plate and then get off the plate.
25 pitches in this inning so far. And there's a rocket into left center. Cut off by Duvall. 2 runs are going to score. That makes it a 9-3 game, and they're at second and third with nobody out here in the Detroit 9th inning. Well, I mean, Jim Riggleman is just beside himself.
Jim's going to go get him.
Yep. So Peralta does not retire a batter. Gives up 4 hits.
That's the second game in a row for Peralta that he has not retired a batter.
Dylan Floro will come on from the bullpen. We'll be back in a moment. Weekend series presented by Kroger. Visit Reds.com for tickets. Runners at second and third, 3 runs home. Reds lead the Tigers 9-3. We're in the 9th inning, but nobody out. And now on the pitch is Dylan Floro.
Ground ball pitcher. Reds could use some outs quick and fast. Tell you, Tom, I've been surprised with this kid.
Well, I mean, I think the Reds have been surprised, don't you?
Threw the ball awfully well early in the season. He had 1 bad game, gave up a bunch of runs. But the thing that I like about him is that he throws strikes with both the fastball and the changeup. And he's got some movement to the pitches. He's not scared of contact. Or does not shy away from contact, I should say.
Candelario cannot believe that was called a strike. In fact, just looking at Tucker Barnhart's reaction would tell you he didn't think it was either.
Tucker was going to the mound because it would have been a 3-0 pitch, and he kept right on going.
Driven into left center field. Duvall's over. And tagging and scoring from third is Jones. On to third goes Martin. But you'll trade runs for outs at this point in the game.
When you're winning by a bunt.
That's right. Ronnie Rodriguez had a 12-pitch at bat as a pinch hitter and wound up striking out. Well, I didn't think that pitch was that close to him.
Sometimes if you're looking away, your reaction has a little over. Well, he really holds his hands funny at the plate. I don't think I've ever seen a hitter hold his hands above. Of course, it really doesn't matter how you start. It's where you are as the pitch comes to the plate. And he gets them right back down in the hitter position. It's kind of like on the mound. Doesn't really matter what you do. You turn, twist, everything else. You just have to be in a good throwing position before you take off to the plate. Oh boy.
You cannot pitch yourself into a save situation. No, I bring that up because some people legitimately ask that question from time to time. We're trying to learn a little bit more about, the closer kind of thing. The save rule can be a little convoluted when you throw in the 3 innings. Doesn't matter what the score is. And, can you pitch yourself into a save situation? The answer is no.
I used to get that all the time.
You did.
Especially here. Cowboy. You can't pitch yourself into a save situation.
And this is not a save situation for Floro.
They were being facetious. Trying to get under my skin a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Well, the runner takes second base in difference. It's a 9-4 game. One out here in the Tigers' 9th inning. And the batter, Goodrum, who's had a good night, been on base 3 straight times, couple of hits and a walk. 1 ball and 2 strikes a count. One and 2, and here it comes. Fly ball center. Will plate another run, more than likely. They're going to send the runner. Yep, throw will go to third. And that makes it a 9-5 game. But the Tigers are down to their final out. This will be the 9th man to bat in this 4-run Detroit 9th inning.
Well, if you did not pay attention to this ball game and you wake up tomorrow, you would think, oh, wow, not a bad game. It was utter dominance for the first 8 innings of the ball game. I thought Romano threw the ball just outstanding.
John Hicks now the batter.
And I would hope, Tom, that Romano would use the Kansas City game and this game to really start things rolling in the right direction from a confidence standpoint when he heads out against the Cubs. We'll see.
That'll be the final game of that series on Sunday afternoon. Straight up in the air, and it's going to do it. Nice job by Floro. And that's the old ball game. Reds have won the opener of this series, 9-5, a 5-run Detroit 9th inning. Reds 5-1 in interleague play this year, and Reds Live right around the corner coming up right now. The big blow in this one. Joey Votto, the grand slam. He'll be joining Jeff Picorro down in the field when we come back.